Welcome folks, it is Jaypher, and today we're going to take a look at a brand new mouse from FNATIC. They brought us the awesome Streak 65 LP, an upgraded version of the Streak 65, both really popular keyboards. And then they also introduced FNATIC Dash and the Focus 3 in the mousepad realm, and those were hugely successful as well. So now after 3 years of kind of laying dormant within the mouse scene, we have the FNATIC Bolt. So let's go and take a look at the Bolt strikes. God, that was so corny. The Bolt is a wireless offering coming in at $79.99, extremely competitively priced within the market. Inside, you're going to get your USB receiver, your USB adapter, your USB-C charging cable, as well as additional feet. With that USB-C connection, FNATIC does claim it's 110 hours with the 2.4 gigahertz signal and 210 hours in Bluetooth, all with RGB off. And as always though, only use that Bluetooth connection feature for work or productivity, as it does drop the mouse down to 125 Hz in 8 milliseconds. It's a symmetrical mouse. Side buttons are only available on the left side for your right-handed use only. It's coming in a black or white colorway, and the only RGB is going to be on the wheel with some subtle lightning bolt printing coming through that translucent rubber, with the measurements of 120 millimeters long, 38.5 millimeters tall, and 55 millimeters at that gripping point. With the size, it's much smaller than the Superlight or the Razer Viper, but the height being nearly identical doesn't mean it translates to it feeling the same at all. That shorter frame makes for a more pronounced height, and it's perfect for those needing to fill that void right within your palm while using a claw grip. It's not overdone though. The angles on the front end allow for you to use a fingertip or palm grip as well. While toward the front of the mouse, the sides are a little bit flat like a Superlight, it does have a great sloping angle to keep a nice grasp on things if you do prefer to go with a fingertip grip. Its dimensions remind me of a Zowie S2 or the Ponage Sim 1, but slightly lower in height from front to back. I have a hand size of 19 by 10, and I could do all three grips without any issues. Given the small footprint of the mouse, I will say a palm was my least comfortable option. The surface is your common textured ABS plastic, and with that texture comes some nice added grip. Doesn't collect any fingerprints. It's advertised that the black model comes in at 67 grams and the white one comes in at 69 grams. Mine's set right in the middle at 68. There is some flex in the sidewalls when you kind of crank down on the sides of it, but it doesn't initiate the side buttons, and it's not something that you're ever going to find yourself doing in normal use. And on my copy, where you do have a mixture of the components of the shell coming together, like on a Vaxi or a Zowie, that seam line is really subtle, and in most cases, it's going to be a polished shell as well. This is not being polished, but it is smooth up here at the beginning of the seam, but toward the tail end of it, it's definitely noticeable, and it kind of catches onto my fingernail that there is some unevenness in the manufacturing of it. The bottom is hollowed out and sneakishly hidden by the well-placed sticker. When you peel it off, that's where you're going to see the cutouts that do exist to help keep that lower weight. You will need to find 2 small screws under the sticker and remove an additional 4 screws under the mouse feet to gain access to the innards. I do wish though there was a proper USB dongle storage slot in the underside. It seems like a huge missed opportunity, especially considering this is an esports org and they have pro players bouncing around LAN under that FNATIC flag. It makes sense for it to be kind of LAN ready. The mouse drew a lot of puzzled faces as information on the feet came out about the Bolt. It's unlike anything I've ever seen before. On the surface, it's your nice, polished, 100% pure PTFE feet, but once you pull them back, you start to see a lip on this underside. It's not nearly as dramatic as the renders made it out to be in the announcement. Think of it like a box of cereal, and it was just kind of enhanced to show texture. The idea behind this, though, is to kind of avoid that common thing we see with PTFE feet. The center point of it never really touches a surface until the sides or the edges of it start to wear in. And by seating the feet into its slotted space, it's less prone to have any uneven wear and tear. Think of it like an alignment for your car. Now, I'll have to put an ample number of hours into this to see its true outcome, to really see if it's a factor or just a gimmick, so only time will tell. The sensor is a 3370, tried and true wireless sensor. It's positioned right where you love to see it, parallel with your grip. Paired with the microcontroller unit that we have with the FNATIC OP software, you can either use the software and download it, or you can just use a combination of presses on the mouse itself and set it to your liking. I will say though, I would recommend downloading the software just so you can see everything default and get kind of a layout of how you want to set it. When I did plug mine in with the software, it showed my mouse with that 15 millisecond debounce, which is pretty crazy. But there are a handful of other options at your disposal that you can customize to your own. The switches on M1 and M2 are the KLGM 8.0, the ever popular switches that we've been seeing in demand for quite some time now and seeing more and more in production mice. These KL Black Mamba switches are snappy and they're not too heavy, so they're great for your precision clicking or spamming in whatever game you might use. The same sadly cannot be said for the wheel or side buttons though. The height of the wheel is perfect, allowing me to roll my finger over it, whether it be mouse 1 or 2 with ease and not a second thought of placement. It's also nice and grippy with clearly defined tactile steps. Actuating though is like a button that's just stiff and cumbersome. The side buttons feel like a button of an arcade machine that's gotten sticky. It's harsh and loud when actuating, almost as though the clicks are echoing within the mouse too. It's really weird. It's not pleasant to use, so games like Rainbow Six Siege, where I'll spam leaning with side buttons, are a no-go for me. Cracking open the mouse though, I did discover these are not your traditional micro switches. They're what's called elevated LXA switches. I had to reach out to FNATIC about this actually so I could learn more. Something that I don't have much experience with, and just from some brief searching, only a handful of lesser known mice have used them. Sadly, you can't desolder them and simply add traditional micro switches, so you're kind of stuck with these. And of course, full disclosure, if I'm not saying something correctly regarding these switches, please yell at me in the comments because I definitely want to know more about them. But my experience so far, I just have not liked them at all. And on top of those front switches though, it's going to be a split button design. There isn't much of any play on mouse 1 or 2. Quite a bit of post travel though, I will say. On the side buttons, as stiff as they are, there is some noticeable post travel as well. Here's a sound test of everything. My time with the Bolt was really fun. With its familiar shape and it being leaning toward the preference of a claw grip, I had a lot of fun with it and it was really comfortable to use. There was zero fatigue during long gaming sessions. If you're someone who enjoys the Superlight or the Zowie S2, I think this is definitely a mouse that I can recommend to you. While playing, if I was in a relaxed state or frantic moments, the mouse moved with me all the way, and I didn't feel as if I was fighting with the mouse in any way. What I mean by that is that sometimes I feel like when there are shapes out there where you have to sit up and really pay attention in a moment's notice in a game, I tend to overthink my grip and I'll fumble with the mouse. Not the case with the Bolt, as there are no extreme angles or drastic curves to really deal with. In the end, I think FNATIC has a really good mouse here, and its strongest point is going to be its footprint. The shape and size is perfect for me, and you can tell they really analyze all different sorts of shapes out there to really fine-tune what's going to work best for most of everyone. At $79.99, I think that this is a good package overall, and the flaws that are with the mouse can be remedied on their next mouse, whether it be a Bolt 2 or their next Ergo, and that's really fine-tuning that scroll wheel to be more comfortable to use when needed, as well as giving us actual side button switches, so that way we can always customize those at a later date if we choose to, as well as making sure that we have a USB dongle slot for the bottom, because again, with this being an esports org, it just seems like a huge missed opportunity for them not to have something that's going to be bundled together while it's in like a backpack or a bag. But if you are interested in the mouse, I will definitely leave an affiliate link below for direct purchase through FNATIC, as well as through the Amazon store, as they will have this available at launch on Amazon. Until next time, I do appreciate you watching the video. If you did like it, please throw a like, and if you did really enjoy it and you want to see my ugly face some more, please hit that subscription button down below. I would greatly appreciate that. Until next time, I'm Jaypher, and you stay safe.
You talked. Attackers win.
I knew it would all work out. It all